I thought life needs to have much more meaning than just doing a 9 to 5 job and where not really creating a impact. You get one chance at this life, so why not do something which where you can make money and also have an impact.
Varun Sheth, co-founder of Ketto, is driving a revolution in crowdfunding, transforming compassion into action and helping save countless lives with every campaign.
Nothing happens overnight, nothing happens very quickly, and nothing then is going to scale.
And I was shocked to see that they raised over 50 crores for that one campaign, or just in a short period of, I would say, 30 days.
Wow.
It was hard to convince people why should this exist also. Why is this required? Why is this needed? And why will someone use a platform like this, right?
We take life so seriously. We take our small problems so seriously, and we think life is ending or the world is ending. But there's so much that is out there that is really life ending for people.
Because you literally have probably like 3 seconds or 4 seconds of someone's attention, right? So it has to really connect with me in those 3-4 seconds for me to, click. Where can life take you, right? From where to where, from in the gutter to not maybe making it to a shelter home to getting adopted by an Italian couple and moving to Italy with them.
Have you ever been emotionally manipulated by a story?
Initially, it was a lot, it would happen because I was.
So, Varun, tell us, how did you start Ketto? Was it an emotional decision or a calculated one?
I was actually very young when I thought about starting Ketto. I was right out of college. Wasn't too sure about life and where life was taking me. And I started initially doing a job right after college, right? And that basically got me thinking that this is something that I don't want to do, right? I thought life needs to have much more meaning than just doing a 9 to 5 job and where not really creating a impact. So at some level, I would say it was an emotional one because I really thought that you get one chance at this life, so why not do something which where you can make money and also have an impact, right? And really touch people's heart in some way or the other, right? So I would say it was more emotional, uh, and that's how it all started.
Did you ever think that the mission was bigger than you, and did that ever scare you?
Uh, it did, I would say, because initially when we started working with uh, lots of non-profits, who are not unable to raise funds, and there are all these really good programs that they were working on. I really felt like if this did not work, all these organizations would not be able to raise money to run their daily programs, right? So at some point, I thought that the mission was much bigger because if if I failed, you know, in terms of executing this, all these different programs, different organizations would not be able to get the funding that they require to run their day-to-day operations, right? So yeah, the mission was super critical.
How did you come up with the concept?
The concept came up to me, in my college days, I used to work in finance. I used to study finance, and that was an area of interest for me. I always knew that I wanted to do something in finance during my college days, but wasn't too sure what it should be, right? And and I was always very inclined to do something in the social impact space. So these two things, one was very emotional driven, one was like very business driven. And when I got out of college and I started working, and I saw that hey, this finance looks good. It looks fun on when you on books and you read in the news. But when it comes to doing it on a day to day basis, it's not fun at all, right? It's
Correct.
not. It's not something that you go back home feeling very happy about that. Hey, you really did something today of meaning, right? Uh, at your work. So when I started really thinking that, hey, how do you marry these concepts of finance and impact? I started talking to a lot of people, I started doing a lot of research, started seeing models outside India, so microfinance and crowdfunding and doing stuff like in the handicraft space, working with uh, artisans and so bunch of stuff I saw, and I saw that hey, this is something that really connects with me. It's something that's really not taken off in India in a big way with the use of mobile, internet, social media, online payments. I said that if all these things that can really take off in India, crowdfunding also will naturally, and that was like how it all started.
So, crowdfunding at the time wasn't such a big concept. And I would say you were one of the first people who came into it in India. Tell me, what was it like facing rejections at the start?
It was fairly hard because it was again a very very new concept. Peop Online payments are fairly new.
Correct.
E-commerce is just not it's just about to take off, so it was not there yet. And India is a very it's a society where people don't trust. Trust is hard to gain, right, and win over. So uh, in the initial days, it was hard to convince people why should this exist. Also, why is this required? Why is this needed? And why will someone use a platform like this, right? Where where people just don't trust each other, right? So they're like, how I don't trust people in my own house, in my own siblings or my own family members. How will I trust somebody over the internet to really donate money, right?
Yeah,
Contribute money to something completely unknown, right? I would rather give money on the road, on the signal to my people in my my house help or etc.
absolutely.
Where at least I know, I can see, I can feel, I can touch. So it was fairly hard to convince people in the initial days. But again, trust is something that you build over time, right? It took a decade to get there, but slowly and steadily, we were really able to show the value of using a platform like this. Show the impact that you're able to create was multifold versus say donating to somebody on the road, for example, right? So yeah, it took time, and it's just something that just took time over years, and we got lucky because a lot of other things played out, right? Social media took off in a big way. People started using mobile a lot. People started transacting online for small amounts. UPI became a phenomena where people started
Absolutely.
paying 50 rupees, 20 rupees. So all those things fell in place, which gave us that bedrock to really build and grow this platform.
Because when we're asking people for money, and let's say even the crowdfunding space, it's not like I've asked for it and I get it. It takes time, it takes convincing. And I think emotionally and mentally it can be very hard and draining. Like, oh, I'm in a year span, this is my projection, but I'm not even halfway there. So for you, what was that turning point, and what did it take to keep going? Because it's so easy to say it's not happening. Like you said, it was early days. People didn't have this concept of donating online, supporting a cause online. It was more like, let's support people who we know and who we can see. So what took you to that next level to say, no, this is going to work, and you actually made it work?
Yeah, I would say that bunch of things, right? It's firstly it's a constant grind, right? You always so many times you come home thinking that it's not worth it. Let's do something else in life. It's not worth your time
Yeah.
commitment. The output is just not there. You one is have to be headstrong, right? Like you just don't give up, right? That's attitude number one that you need to have. The other thing is that you create smaller milestones, right? If you think you start get into something thinking that you will be number one overnight, that's never going to happen, right? It's going to take a lot of work, a lot of time, effort. So rather than getting into something that, hey, I want to be number one, how do you set smaller milestones on a monthly, quarterly basis, right? And then you hear back from your customers, right? If they are really enjoying what you built, what you created, that becomes a secondary motivation for you to keep going, right? So yes, there were very hard times, a lot of people, lots of no's, but that's bound to happen. You're going to hear 99 no's in 1 year. So that's again something you got to be uh, used to and ready for if you want to become an entrepreneur and you want to start something, irrespective what field you are getting into, right?
Correct.
So that's just part and parcel of the job, right? And just surround yourself with positive people, right? If things are not working, have the right people that you can speak to, you can bounce off ideas, have a good mentor who'll pick you up when you're down. So I think all these things help me a lot, uh, and help me keep going, right? Because of course I had lots of moments where I said I don't want to do it, and having this ecosystem around me and the support around me was what kept me going.
also, I think, like you rightly said, nothing happens overnight. And like today's day and age, that whole attitude of instant gratification, that's what comes in. You're a great example of consistency and resilience. Like without these two, nothing happens overnight, nothing happens very quickly, and nothing then is going to scale. Like you said, you scaled over time. I don't think this is where you were even 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. So, very rightly said, consistency is key. And I think any founder, any startup should definitely have that in mind. Youngsters nowadays should definitely have that in mind. It takes a lot to get there. And you have to know that smaller milestones in one, but then to have the larger picture in mind. Like ultimately, what is the goal? Right? Intent is key. So tell me, has your definition of success changed from when you started?
The definition of success, question is that how do you really define success? Like that's the first question I've asked myself, right? One way of defining success is just, money, right? That's the,
Yeah.
easiest.
Everyone thinks that's the first way of
That's
defining
that's
success.
the common denominator, right? That hey, this person is more successful because they've made more
Made,
money,
yeah.
and this person is less successful because they've made less money, right? My definition of success, I would say initially it was, of course, saying that, hey, have you gotten so much valuation? Have you gotten so much funding? Have you got so much revenue, profit, money, etc.? I think now my definition that was, when you start, I'm guessing that's what you think about, right? Because that's if you don't chase that, you probably will just fail and you'll have to shut shop, right? Um, so you're just trying to keep your head above the water, in the first few years when you're starting something, right? But I think over a period of time, my definition of success is just more happiness, right? Just self-content, right? Am I happy doing what I'm doing? Am I are people around me happy who I'm working with? Do I like going to work? Um, am I making some kind of small impact, in the society? Those are my metrics of happiness. I think, yeah, they've evolved over time. I think now it's more about am I just enjoying what I'm doing, and uh, uh, yeah, I think it's now more focused around internal happiness rather than chasing external or comparing myself with other people saying that, hey, this person has done so much,
Yeah,
where am
because
I?
I think there's a number which everyone chases. Like when I reach this, I'll be really happy. And maybe I'll buy this car and maybe I'll have this house. And, everyone imagines a life. And like you said, it's great to have that at the beginning because you need that to push yourself to get to that place. But I think ultimately, there are a lot of places you may reach. You may be at 10 million, 50 million, 100 million, but then lifestyle won't change as much within those digits. Then, like you said, it's very important to wake up for a cause. You should be happy waking up and going to work. You should know that you're happy doing what you're doing and you really are inspired doing what you're doing, because otherwise it's hard to keep going.
Yeah,
And then those numbers don't actually make a large difference to your life. Then those
correct.
numbers are just numbers. You can add zeros, subtract zeros, they stay as much as possible within your lifestyle.
Yeah,
So you're absolutely right. I think the definition does change over a period of time, and I'm glad to see that you have a very aware state of mind when it comes to understanding success and has happiness and how they are intertwined. So crowdfunding at Ketto is obviously based on the psychology of giving. So I want to ask you, what makes someone hit donate in a world of infinite scrolls?
I think firstly, it is having some kind of compassion. You know, that's the starting point, that you have a mindset of wanting to help, wanting to participate in terms of giving back to the community. So that's the first starting point, right? Do you are you in that state of mind or not, right? Second is what really connects with you, right? What do you really care about? What kind of cause are you really compassionate about? You helping, you want to help stray animals, or you want to help the environment, you want to help somebody with medical treatment, etc. Right? So that's the second layer. Third layer is in terms of when I see something, in the in a finite scrolling world, does that really connect with me, in a very short period of time, right? Because you literally have probably like 3 seconds or four
Yeah.
seconds of someone's attention, right? So it has to really connect with me in those 3 4 seconds for me to, click donate. And fourth is that when I see something, click on donate is, can I make the experience in one click, right? So once I've decided to click, how do you make sure that that happens
Yeah,
very, very
goes
quick
through.
and very quickly, right? In the shortest period of time. So I think these four are the layers in terms of what really gets people to click, transact, uh, and pay, right? Uh, and we've seen that effectively work at scale very well, right? We've got over now 80 lakh people who transacted on the platform for
Wow.
the last 14 years, 14 odd years. And that formula has been consistent, right? You've got to go through these layers to make sure that people come and transact.
But we open our social medias and there is endless causes, there is endless images, imagery, videos, somebody in need, somebody with a disease, a special cause. Do you think at some point people feel emotionally numb? Because when you're scrolling and let's say I have three reels or three posts and the fourth one is a cause, because if I start following and if I start donating, then my algorithm changes and then my algorithm automatically will show me more of that. You feel at some point people feel emotionally numb and they're like, how much of more misery to see, how much of more of these donate to see, and then people just get off that platform completely?
I would say it's a mixed bag. We've heard this where some people have said it just becomes too much, and I did 5 times now, why sixth and why seventh time, and the answer to that is it's really the algorithm, right? It's not you know it's not in anybody's control. It's really Facebook or
Yeah.
Meta showing you things at a certain velocity. And we believe that over a period of time, the right answer is to find a balance, right? In terms of how much is too much and how much is enough, and what is the medium that you really want to engage with people, and what is the story that you want to tell, right? A lot of our users have, actually told us, and it's a very successful thing on our platform, is that just tell me where to subscribe, on a monthly auto basis, right? So uh, I know that every month I'm participating, and then I don't need to see anything more or engage with anything more, but I just participate on automatic basis, right? So one of the successful uh, features that we have is called a SIP, like a social impact plan, which is like a monthly auto debit plan, right? So a lot of people want to participate in that way, saying that, hey, just sign me up, you know, and then I'm okay.
You're donating monthly
It's
and
just happening.
I don't have to actually go through the causes and sit and see
Yeah,
every story.
yeah,
So it's like a monthly donation I'm just
yeah,
doing from my heart, from my work, from
yeah,
my balance, and then it's happening on its
yeah,
own. Yeah, I think that would make it easier emotionally, because when you actually have to go through all the stories and you have to keep scrolling, like I said, it might make you emotionally overwhelmed also.
yeah,
It's kind of overwhelming to see, oh my God, there are that many children in need, there are that many people are hungry, or there are that many people with diseases, and you want to shut off
yeah,
at some point from that world.
yeah.
So would be easy. That's a very smart move. Do you think Indians are becoming more empathetic as time has moved on in 14 years? Or do you think it's more of performance? Because now the world has become a little bit of show off also. So like let's say 15 years ago, if there was a charity, there was one charity event in a year
Hmm.
where somebody showed that they're doing charity through the year, and like people would go and participate in that charity, and then you would come to know, oh, this Mr. Khan or Mr. Khanna is holding this charity, and through the year he collects money, and now he's doing a ball event or whatever event to that extent. But today, charity has also become a bit of a performance. Like everything is on Instagram, everything's on Facebook. People show they're feeding 3 kids, 10 kids, they're helping someone's cause. Look, I looked after this child and I educated this child. So it's become a lot of performance as well. Do you see the difference in the last 10 years of your work?
No, it's definitely, like, I think India has become more, uh, definitely become more empathetic. I feel like the change has really been, at least in our users, our largest subset of users are in the age group of 18 to 25.
Oh, really?
Yes. So what has really changed is the younger audience is becoming more conscious around, you know, consumption, around society, around people around them,
Contributing to a
contributing.
cause.
So they are more empathetic, I would say, than the older age group is more around. It's a mindset thing because, you know, around hoarding, saving for yourself, saving for your family only, because they've seen world was very different, 20 years back versus now it is. Right now, we've reached a level where the younger age has enough abundance, easy access to credit, etc., etc. Right. So definitely, I feel like the new age group of youngsters coming out of school, colleges, are a lot more empathetic than what uh, how it was probably 15 years back or 20 years.
So tell me a story or tell me an instance where you felt like, you raised money for a cause and you really worked at a cause and till today you feel like it's bearing fruit.
So we've our platform. So firstly, we don't decide. We can't say one is more important. They both are important in their own context, right? So we've created simple rules in terms of what all you need to go through KYC verification to get listed, right? And then everybody gets listed. Everybody has their own. They need to raise money for their own problems that they are in currently. So we don't try to be the supreme judge over here or play the god role in terms of what is A is more important than B. We've created rules which are need to be followed to create a page, get listed, and then it's everybody has equal shot.
So anybody can get listed.
That's correct.
Have you ever been emotionally manipulated by a story?
Uh, I would say initially it was a lot. It would happen because I was deeply involved in making sure that every story is successful and every story gets lands up raising. And at that point of time, of course, there were not so many campaigns getting listed on the platform, but now we have a few thousand every month, so it's not
Possible, yeah.
to get involved in each of them directly. So I'll tell you a time around. This was in 2014, where there was this campaign. There was this non-profit which helped girls in the red light district of Kamartipura in Mumbai. And there was this girl, Shweta Kati, over there. She had actually got into a college in the US to study, right? She's got a scholarship. And they needed to raise money to make sure send her there. She stay, first year stay, accommodation, travel, etc., right? And we basically, this nonprofit came to us saying that, hey, we want to crowdfund. We said, okay, let's get this campaign listed. And then we went all out. I got personally involved to make sure reaching out to each and every friend of mine, colleague of mine, family member, following up with them to make sure that they all contribute. We did like an offline event at a restaurant.
Wow.
Went to each and every.
You went all out.
Yeah, we went to every customer over there. To ask them to contribute. So it was like just going all out, just putting yourself out there to make sure that this campaign is successful. And it did. It raised money. She went. She's back, and now she's helping other girls, in that same area, right, to get out of there and have a better life. So yeah, it was just life came in a circle.
So at a platform like Ketto, do you feel like you have to make business decisions that don't align with your personal values?
These I think in any business, you constantly will come to a crossroad where that does this person, do these things align or no, right? And at times, it's very easy to say that, you don't take decisions that don't personally align with you. But at times you have to take those decisions. I think it's very, very hard. I think you're just lying to yourself. You're saying that, you
Yeah.
don't take any decision that does not personally align with, right? At times you have to just be practical. It's just not your personal point of view. There are 400 other people working in the organization. So I would say that, yeah, you come to crossroads at times and you have to just then be practical, take practical decisions, because then uh, it becomes my personal opinion kind of a thing, right? Then it becomes like, hey, everyone will have their own personal opinion around things to be done or not to be done, right? So I would say karna padta hai kabhi, and you have to just be practical about it, or then it just becomes, you know, my personal views this and your personal views that. So then whose personal view should we take in terms of making any decision in life?
Tell me about a time when it was really difficult to make that decision because it mostly didn't align with you, but you had to do it because, on the larger scheme of things, business needed that decision.
Yeah, so we had this about a year and a half back. Right after COVID, we had expanded our team significantly. We had hired a lot of people, And post COVID, we saw that we don't need so many people in the organization, in the company, and then you have to let go of some of them. And that was and that was like a first time incident in my life where I get to let go of people, right? One day just show up and tell them, hey, 20 25 of y'all, we don't need y'all.
My
Y'all
God.
got to go. We don't see any value having such a large team in these departments. And personally, I thought I'll never have to do that. Tell people that, because before that, everybody who had left was just, they left at their own accord, right? They had just said, hey, we've got another job, we want to go. It was the first time where we had to say that, boss, we don't need you all, you have to leave. So that was never, personally, never aligned with me in terms of, I always thought that hire slow, so you don't have to come to that
Point.
position
Yeah.
point where you have to just let people go. But we had to do that because, it didn't make any sense to keep these people on the payroll, and we had to take that hard call. So that was something that never personally aligned with me, but as a company, you have to do it, right? You come to such moments where you have to do it, so you have to do it.
Did Ketto go up and up in COVID because there was so much misery around all of us? And was it a harder process for you at the time for the listing?
Yeah, of course. COVID was a crazy, crazy time, right? We overnight saw at a time, if you're getting, in a month we're getting 10,000 campaigns listed. We started seeing that happen in a week's time, right?
Yeah.
So that's like just insane. And we all were at home, we're working from home. So how to make sure everyone's like motivated, everyone is serving, our users where they need us the most, right? Because that's one
Correct.
time where people need you the most, right? This is your time to show up and shine in terms of making sure you're running 24/7, people are getting support, people's questions are getting answered. So it was this crazy time, right? And make sure everyone's motivated to put in those extra hours, right? Especially when you're at home, it's easy to get lazy, just start watching Netflix or start playing PlayStation. So it was a crazy, crazy time, right? But you gotta put in the hours, you gotta make sure that you customers are happy, users are happy, and uh, and you're serving people when they need you the most, right? So gotta do
Tell
it.
me about a campaign that in COVID you thought would not be successful. It was, and it really moved you emotionally and mentally.
I would say that there was this whole COVID relief campaign around oxygen concentrators, where these bunch of guys from Delhi, they had come and put up a fundraiser. I thought that ठीक है, it'll work. They'll raise few lakh rupees, and why would people want to give for such a? Yeah, and that time those oxygen concentrators were also expensive, right? Why would people want to give money for something like this? People rather want to give money for someone's medical treatment, pay for the medical bills because so many people were in the hospital, right? And I was shocked to see that they raised over 50 crores for that one campaign, or just in a short period of, I would say, 30 days.
Wow.
So it was just a crazy one. You had Sachin Tendulkar giving, and you had all these big names who came and you contributed. And I got like like after a point I got super emotionally involved with them, saying that, boss, you whatever you need, I'm there. You tell me. It's just crazy how people are coming and
Supporting.
contributing and so on, supporting. So let's do whatever it takes now to push this further and further towards its goal. So that was one of the campaigns that I never expected to reach where it did, and it just got global attention, right? It got featured on New York Times. It got featured at all these big celebrities talking about it. There was this Game of Thrones actor who also put it on her Twitter. So it was just crazy.
And it all happened organically.
All happened organically, completely, right?
How
Who would have
beautiful.
thought that from here it would get covered in New York Times and Wall Street Journal. So it was just crazy.
Do you think all crowdfunding platforms are performing ethically like you are?
It's very hard to say, right? It's just like any other business, right? It's very hard to paint the whole canvas with the same color, right? I would say most would be there. Of course, there will be some people who will be behaving naughty. So I would say it's very hard to say. You can't answer on behalf of anybody else, right? You only answer on behalf of yourself, right? So I would say maybe not. I would hope they would not. I would say maybe not. Some some of them would be playing loose and fast.
when you see numbers like 50 crores a month, has it ever made you think that there are people out there who are ready to give without too much thought? Have you ever had team members or anybody in that fraternity come up and say, hey, why don't we start these other three campaigns, which may not be ethical, but see the kind of crowdfunding we can actually get?
So we've created very over the period of time we've learned, of course, right? You learn where people try to play the system or game the system, right? So we've over the last, especially over the last 4 5 years, we really tightened that process, and of course, we made the process super strong. So we've created very fixed, strong guidelines and strong guardrails, I would say, right? That you got to like pass these guardrails to be able to list and get listed, right? So it's not any team member coming and saying that, okay, let this through or let that through, because it's not you and I who can make a decision. It's you have to make sure that you are in these guardrails, and if you pass those, then you get listed, right? So it's not a nobody can make a personal decision saying that अरे इसको आगे कर दो या उसको आगे कर दो. Nobody has that. uh, Nobody can take that call individually. So we've and over
That authority and power has not been given at all.
right,
It's all a
anybody.
system.
Yeah, it's not with me as well, right? If they come to me and say, hey, somebody comes to me saying, let's push this through, I would say if it does not pass the cartridge, then it does not pass the cartridge. Like you can't, nobody has a kill switch in the back end to just, push something through.
So your life is associated with impact, right? Because you're impacting people, you're impacting society, you are emotionally, financially giving so much to the society. Do you feel like you have the pressure to stay switched on all the time?
I would say definitely, right? Because uh, when people reach out to us, and a lot of people just reach out to me directly as well, they say, oh, this one it's super mission critical, it's very urgent, in the ICU, you know. So it's very hard to like say that no, I'm busy right now, or not reply for like 10 hours or 12 hours. So you got to be like, because it's life and death, right, at the end of it, right?
Yeah.
Or somebody else's, right? So you want to basically make sure that you're constantly switched on, you're available to help support, and make sure at least somebody reaching out to you for help gets somebody from my team calls them, contacts them immediately, make sure that the story is heard. If they want to get listed, get their fundraiser listed. So yeah, it's got to be constantly switched on. I'm telling you, I've been thinking for the last 5 years that I want to go and do Vipassana, do that 10-day Vipassana. But I just feel like, boss, if I do a 10-day Vipassana means 10 days I do not in front of my phone is switched off. And then someone reaches out to me, and if they don't get an answer, if I come back and say, Array, I could have helped this person, but they did not get help because I did not reply. I'll feel so bad about it.
So much guilt attached
So much
to it.
guilt attached to it, right? So I just feel like 5 years I've been thinking to do Vipassana, but I just don't have that courage to, you know,
Switch off from
switch
this
off,
world and move.
yeah, and move. Yeah.
But I think in the end, it's very important to uh, provide for self. So if your need emotionally or mentally you are feeling like you need to switch off and go for a Vipassana, for example, that's what you said, then one must do it, because otherwise you'll reach burnout. And I'm sure you reach burnout because in the end you're dealing with stress situations, you're dealing with misery situations, you're dealing with hyper situations, and you're dealing with life or death at all times. So I'm sure you have burnout. How do you deal with burnout?
Feel like you know, you just do the usual stuff, right? In when you holiday, you spend time with kids, family, etc. But I feel like one way to make sure that you don't burn out is you meditate, right? I think meditation has helped me a lot. I practice Wim Hof breathing, breath work. And I feel like uh, that is something that constantly by doing that breath work on a daily basis, putting in those 20 25 minutes to do it has really personally helped me. And I don't feel like I've not come to a situation where I feel like, Arey, I'm too burnt out and I cannot do this anymore. Primarily because of just doing breath work. Some days you feel like burnt out. You had a long day or a long weekend. You've traveled for work. But I don't think I've really gone through like that feeling of for 1 week or 2 weeks. Where you feel like, Arey, what am I doing? I'm completely burnt out. Primarily because of doing this breath work, and I feel like it's helped me a lot. And I think you know anybody listening to this should check it out. Should check out Wim Hof breath work and practice it at least a few times a week, if nothing.
So, it got me thinking while you were talking that you actually deal with situations where people are in dire need of money.
Correct.
And their problems are larger than a normal person's problems. Today,
Correct.
my problem is my car didn't come on time. I didn't make it to the shoot. I woke up late, and somehow you think like those are problems, and your day didn't go according to how you planned. So, people have, let's say, small issues like my husband didn't come back from work. I was waiting, and the kids were waiting to have dinner with him. He called in last minute, and then you're upset about it. My child didn't do well in school. He came third. I expected him to come first. We went for sports day. My kids didn't win. I'm just saying, I asked my in laws to join us for a Sunday brunch. My kids were looking forward. They didn't make it, and you're so upset. These are common man's issues which everyone's facing day to day, and you think like, oh my god, I'm so upset, this happened with me. Now you are dealing with like real heavy issues that, and helping people raise money or deal with those issues. Do you feel like at home, sometimes you are looking at life problems very differently, and do you feel that with family you say like, stop complaining, what are you complaining about? Do you know what I'm dealing with today? Do you have those moments at home?
Totally. I 100% have those moments that at some level I cannot relate to them only.
Yeah.
Because when I come home and my wife is telling me about problems like, the ones you mentioned, I'm like, these are not even problems.
Exactly.
Why are you talking about this, right? These are not like, go to the real world and see real world problems, right?
Exactly.
So for me personally, it's damn hard to relate to these problems, like at home. That like, why discuss it also? This doesn't deserve time, effort, discussion, mind
Yeah.
space. And yeah, I think it just gets difficult at home because my wife is like, we don't get the problem, then why this problem is so big? But you hear and move on. Don't give it too much attention.
Yeah, I think one is getting emotionally evolved to the place where you feel like, seriously, this is not a problem. And I think one is to be in your position where, like, seriously, this is not a problem because you're seeing problems that are really problems.
Yeah.
So tell me a campaign of Ketto that has really stayed with you and moved you to the point where it changed you as a human.
So there was this story, about, I think it was in about 2017-18, and there was this child, uh, newborn baby boy, and I think it must be probably like a few hours, old, and was found in a gutter in Roparel. This is a rainy day, monsoon, and like all mosquito bites and rat bites, and
Rat bites.
rat bites as well. And some couple who was walking by found this child in the gutter. It must be like not even a day old boy, and took him to the hospital. This was at Vadia Hospital in Parel. And of course, then the child was in NICU, went through treatment, and the as soon as the child was admitted, the hospital called us saying that, hey, this is looks like the child will have to stay in NICU for at least a few months, and it's going to be very expensive. We need you to crowdfund for this. And then the parents, with the hospital, set up a fundraiser. The fundraiser raised, I would say, 15 lakh rupees.
This is the parents who found him.
They're
So
just
not
couple.
biological
They're not
parents.
parents. They're just like a couple who was just walking on the road. Good Samaritans, you can say, right? And they listed this fundraiser. They landed up raising 15 lakh rupees in 1 hour.
1 hour.
1 hour for this fundraiser, and of course, the treatment happened. This child was, I think, after a month or 2 months, was discharged. Child went to a shelter home. The government took over from there, and things went well. Like at least the child was safe, alive. Uh, and they named the child, the hospital named the child Tiger because fighting
He
spirit.
survived.
He survived, right? Tiger zinda hai. The fighting spirit the child had, right? And that's how the story ended, at least for us, right? Knowing that the child is now in a shelter home. Then one day, cut to a few years later, in the morning, I was just reading the newspaper, and I read the story about how this child was found in the gutter and went to shelter home, and then how a Italian couple adopted the child, uh, and took him to Italy.
Wow.
And that was shocking. That was like really moving. I was like, wow, where can life take you, right? From where to where, from in the gutter to not maybe making it to a shelter home to getting adopted by an Italian couple and, you know, moving to Italy with them. Life has like what tricks in, it's impossible to predict life, right? That's what it was super moving. There was a tear in my eye when I read it. I was so proud of what we had built at that point in time. I was like, you know, we played a small role, but just to be part of that story was just super amazing. It was very very touching.
How small
Uh,
role? You were there at like the first hour he needed life. So I think a huge role in that sense.
yeah, but it was just like, life can just take you anywhere.
True.
And maybe at some point would love to meet him when he grows old. And have a conversation with him. I think that's where life will take me full circle, where we get to meet and engage with him probably sometime in the future. Yeah.
I think that's so inspiring because you may click on a donate button. It may be 1,000 rupees, 100 rupees, 500, 5,000. To everybody, each amount means different things. To somebody, 100 rupees may be a lot when it's being contributed. And to me, 100 rupees may be almost nothing giving it. But in the end, the impact it's made, where it's taken someone's life, like you said, we just don't know, right? So we should be very mindful in not really calculating so much, because in the end you don't know what difference is making to somebody's life. And I think day to day we tend to forget that. And I think a platform like yours is a great reminder. This conversation was from that purpose that we take life so seriously. We take our small problems so seriously and we think life is ending or the world is ending. But there's so much that is out there that is really life ending for people. And you're there helping, supporting, working towards making people's lives better, giving people life. And I think it's absolutely amazing. Are you able to engage with them with the same emotional capacity that you go to work with?
I think, yeah, I feel like I am very, I believe that the most important thing uh, with, with kids is to be emotionally aligned, right? I think it's not the amount of time you spend with them. I think it's being on the same emotional wavelength with children is extremely important. So I am very, very focused when it comes to their emotions. And I also put my emotions out there so they know it's a two-way streak, right? It's okay to get emotional, and it's a part of life. Um, so yeah, I feel emotion is a very strong aspect of the right upbringing that you can give your children.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's where parents should really focus on. At least that's my personal view. Is to really focus their time effort uh, with the children. Yeah.
I know that you have a daughter and you're supremely attached to her. And I believe she was in the NICU, when she was born. How did you deal with that? Tell me a little bit about it.
So obviously, we I have seen so many campaigns before that on Ketto where the children in an ICU, and it's still it that still doesn't happen to you. It's always it was a story and you feel for it, but it's not you're not deeply emotionally
Yeah,
connected
it's
to
a
it.
cause. You
It's
want to support it, but you don't actually know what it feels like to be there.
yeah, you don't get the emotion. You understand the problem and you're empathetic to it, but you don't really get the emotion of what the parents or the family uh, are going through at that point in time, right? So when it happens to you, you really feel like, oh my god, uh, how did we get here? How do we solve for this problem? What is going to happen next? What is the future going to look like? What are the problems that are going to happen? So it's a really, really deeply, emotionally moment in your life which you will never forget. You
Correct.
know, which you'll
No, now you go into the story.
which you'll always think about for the rest of your life, right? And when we were there at that point in time, when we were spending that time in the hospital, going every day, 3 times a day, feeling helpless that you can't do anything. I met another couple over there, right, who were also going through the situation, and they were going through the situation for much longer before we got there, right? And at one day when we were, just sitting outside, I came to know that that family had used our platform. You had used crowdfunding because their condition was,
Quite bad.
quite bad, right? Uh, and that person became a deep source of encouragement for me, because, for me it was at that point probably day one or day five, but that father was there for the last, it was day 60 for him,
My
so he,
God.
so he had already gone through so many emotions, sleepless nights,
And
etc.
hope and hopelessness both.
Both. So he gave me a lot of encouragement, right? He gave me a lot of sense of hope, saying that, of course, one is around, finance was one thing, crowdfunding was one thing, all that kept aside. He gave me a lot of sense of hope in terms of, hey, it's going to be okay, we'll get through this. Setting, because you don't know what's going to happen, right? Every day you're just like so confused, you're just reading everything on the internet, you're just
And you
talking
think like it's the
like,
worst is going to happen.
yeah, you got to think the worst is going to happen, right? So he gave a lot of source of encouragement. He said, "Don't read this. This is what is going to happen. Things are going to get better. You know, don't
So
lose hope, etc., etc."
when
So
his
that
child was saved, did he know you were the reason behind it?
he came to know later. That later on that I was the person running Ketto. So it was much later that he came to know, and of course, he called me up and he thanked me for creating a platform like this, and how without the platform's help, how he could have not continued his child's treatment in that hospital. He would have taken to a lesser equipped hospital, would have taken a discharge much earlier. But he could have, because of the platform, he made sure that, because those early days are the most important, right?
Correct.
He was able to, you know, get the best possible medical treatment for his child at that point in time.
So do you think people still hesitate to donate even when they can, or do you think people are very free willing to donate?
I think we're just scratching the surface, right? There are a lot more people who can give. India has a very large population. People, I would say we've just scratched the surface. 99% of people still, their primary contribution or donation happens at a temple, at a religious institute, temple, mosque, church, etc. Right?
Community places.
Community basis. That's why still 99% of giving in India happens, right?
Generational thought process.
Generational thought process. Uh, you know, you go to Ashna Devi, and
Yeah.
it's a family thing that you go together and you're there, you contribute, right? So the mindset is still very focused around giving around religious causes or at religious institutions, right? So we believe we're just scratching the surface. I think there's a lot more to do, lot more people to unlock in terms of getting them to use a platform like this, and showing, why are we different from your traditional aspects of giving, right? What is a different impact that happens here versus your traditional ways that you would contribute or give back to the society. So we feel like there's a lot to do, like a lot more people to reach, a lot more people to get on our platform, a lot more people to share the impact that we're doing. So my true belief is that we've really scratched the surface only, right? 80 lakh people coming and contributing is nothing in a country where there are more than 100 crore people, right? So we believe that there's a lot more work to be done, a lot more people to reach out to, a lot more people to bring on our platform, lot more people to convince that why this is a need of the hour, why you should use a platform like this, why you should give it a try at least, if not, commit on it, do it on a monthly basis, weekly basis, and we believe that this can really bring people together in a big way, right? That's what we're building. We're building a community. Correct. Which brings people together, which helps people at a time of need, and I really hope that it's not only us, but lot more people come and create platforms like these, right? Because the more platforms that are there, the more, awareness, reach, impact, we'll all be able to create, right? So
And the psychology of giving will be in the right format. Instead of going blindly to institutions and giving, they're actually giving to a cause or a person in need.
that's correct. That's correct. So we're very excited about the future. We're optimistic in terms of what the future holds, and yeah, we're looking forward to making a much more bigger impact than we have.
Superb. So, on a lighter note, I would like to end the episode by burst the bubble. It's a segment where I ask you a few questions and you give me the first answer that comes to your mind. One word to describe Ketto.
Happiness.
Biggest learning from failure.
Keep going.
Quickest mental health tip you swear by.
Meditation.
What's one small act of kindness that stuck with you?
Saying yes to things.
What's a thought, quote, or moment that still gives you chills from a Ketto campaign?
The child that was found in a gutter and now is in Italy.
If kindness were a currency, what would its exchange rate be in today's world?
Billions.
Thank you so much, Varun. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And I hope people understand what giving really means, what kindness can do, and where it can really make a huge change in someone's life, just a small step towards it.
Thank you so much for having me over here. And I'm happy to be here and share my views and thoughts and excited for everyone to hear this.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Varun Sheth. I spoke to Ashna on the Therapy Diaries about the thought behind Ketto, crowdfunding, compassion, and staying grounded while navigating purpose driven work. If you ever wondered how to build impact without losing yourself, catch the episode now on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from.